Welcome to Griffonomics.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here as your resident expert today.
And I am your host, thrilled to welcome you, our listener, to today's deep dive. We have a really fascinating mission today.
Oh, definitely. We're doing a granular investigative report into this massive high-stakes industry that is, basically hiding in plain sight.
Right. We are talking about the equipment rental space. Specifically, we're looking at the fierce strategic divergence between the two absolute heavyweights in the room, Sunbelt Rentals and United Rentals, or URI.
Yeah, and to build this out, we went through a really dense stack of sources. I mean, we're talking recent SEC filings, investor relations reports, sustainability white papers, and some incredibly detailed OEM catalogs.
Those original equipment manufacturer catalogs were wild to look through.
Totally, because the strategic battle buried in the fine print of those catalogs is just fascinating.
Yeah, the hook here is that both of these companies have massive footprints. I mean, over 1,600 locations each across North America.
Which is huge.
Right. But their supply chain philosophies are complete polar opposites. It is a brutal battle of resale value versus strategic independence.
Exactly. And actually, if you look at the digital monitor behind me, the backdrop for today's deep dive captures this perfectly. We have a split screen going on.
Oh, wow. Yeah. On one side, representing Sunbelt, it's just this pristine, uniform line of yellow construction equipment stretching out.
Yeah. And on the other side, representing United Rentals, we have this glowing digital map connecting thousands of varied job sites through, like, a complex software web.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you are building a massive delivery business. Do you buy premium luxury vans because you know you can sell them later for a great price?
Right. The resale value.
Exactly. Or do you buy a mix of cheaper vans and invest heavily in the dispatch software?
What's fascinating here is that this exact scenario dictates the two models. Sunbelt is what we call the machine model.
Meaning they bet on the physical hardware.
Yeah, they are betting heavily on the intrinsic value and the brand equity of gold standard hardware to minimize depreciation risk.
And then United Rentals is the exact opposite.
Right. United Rentals is the network. They bet on the scale, the density, and the technological power of their digital platform. They prioritize operational autonomy over brand names.
And for you listening, this isn't just about renting tractors. This is really a masterclass in how to build a corporate moat.
It really is. I mean, when you are buying tens of thousands of excavators, depreciation isn't just a spreadsheet line item. It is a gravitational pull that can, completely bankrupt you.
So how exactly does Sunbelt's machine strategy translate to the balance sheet?
Well, Sunbelt combats that depreciation gravity by relying deeply on Caterpillar, or CAT, and John Deere for their heavy earth-moving equipment.
Right, what the industry calls yellow iron.
Exactly. And this fuels what we call their resale engine. Heavy equipment takes a beating, right? It gets run into the ground and eventually has to be retired.
And sold on the secondary market.
Yeah. And because Caterpillar is viewed as the gold standard, it ensures a premium price when those machines are sold used.
Which fundamentally changes Sunbelt's balance sheet, I imagine.
Oh, completely. It gives them this consistent cash inflow engine. Lenders view a fleet of C equipment not as decaying machinery, but as highly liquid collateral.
Wow, so that secures them better borrowing rates.
Yeah, it helps support Sunbelt's lower net leverage ratio, which hovers around 1.6x. In a business requiring billions in constant capital expenditure, that low ratio is a massive safety net.
That makes total sense. But there's also the loyalty aspect, right?
Yes, the loyalty moat. Construction is so heavily driven by brand loyalty. There are thousands of operators who have this strict see, cat, or nothing mindset.
So Sunbelt basically captures those CAT loyalists.
Exactly. By stocking CAT, they essentially lower their customer acquisition costs. The logo on the machine does the heavy lifting for the sales rep.
Okay, I get that. But if CAT has the best resale value and the most loyal customers, isn't it a no-brainer for everyone to use them? Why wouldn't United Rentals do the same thing?
That is the big question. Because for United Rentals, buying CAT means funding a direct rival.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, Caterpillar operates something called the CH Rental Store.
Ah, so the manufacturer has its own rental network.
Yeah, exactly. If United Rentals buys C8 equipment, they are literally handing capital to the parent company of the business trying to steal their customers.
Oh, wow. So they'd be funding their own enemy.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this historical metaphor. You know how Hernan Cortés burned his ships when he arrived in the Americas?
Right. To eliminate the safety net, no retreat.
Exactly. URI is doing a strategic divorce. They are burning the ships. They refuse to buy C8 to avoid funding the enemy, which completely eliminates their safety net of high resale value.
That is a bold move.
Very bold. But by diversifying away from the king, they take all that buying power to alternate OEMs like Komatsu, Case, Takeuchi, Kubota, and Bobcat.
So they use that massive buying power to play the manufacturers against each other.
You got it. They secure superior bulk pricing and avoid that C8 premium markup. And they gain VIP status. They become a top-tier customer for alternative OEMs rather than taking a backseat to a manufacturer's own retail network.
It reminds me of a supermarket strategy. Like, if a grocery chain wants to stop being held hostage by name-brand cereal pricing, they pour resources into creating an incredible store brand.
That is a great analogy.
And if the store logistics are better, the customer stops caring whose logo is on the box.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this forces URI to innovate internally. Since they can no longer rely on a famous logo to sell their service, they have to build a better network.
But burning the ships sounds great for pricing on paper. What happens when global supply chains completely freeze up, like in the real world?
That is where we saw the models really tested. During the post-pandemic bottlenecks, URI's multi-vendor strategy gave them incredible resilience.
Because they spread out their procurement.
Yeah, by spreading it out, they weren't crippled when a single OEM had production delays. If Case had a delay, they leaned on Takeuchi or Bobcat to keep growing.
So it's kind of like an investor with a highly diversified index fund. One factory shuts down, but the broader portfolio absorbs the shock.
Exactly. Whereas Sunbelt is holding a concentrated position in a blue-chip stock.
But doesn't Sunbelt get some kind of advantage from being so concentrated with CT?
Oh, absolutely. Sunbelt benefits from density. CT has an unmatched global dealer and parts network.
Okay, so if you're on a remote job site.
Yeah, say a contractor is out in rural Texas and a part breaks. A Sunbelt customer is likely in a CT machine, meaning there's probably a certified CT mechanic with the exact part just a few towns over.
So they get back up and running way faster.
Right. While a URI customer with a less common brand might wait days for a proprietary part to ship.
That is a huge trade-off.
It is. But the ultimate test for these distinct supply chains isn't just surviving a pandemic. It's navigating the transition to green energy.
Oh, speaking of which, I see your digital backdrop has shifted. We're looking at a futuristic, zero-emission green construction site now.
Yeah, the transition is happening fast. Both Sunbelt and United Rentals have transitioned roughly 20% of their fleets to electric or hybrid.
That's a huge chunk of the fleet.
It is. Yeah. But they are handling it completely differently. Let's look at the Sunbelt ecosystem, what they call Sunbelt 4.0. Because of their loyalty, they get exclusive access to premium green tech.
Like what?
Like the CAT 301.9 electric mini excavator and the Deere 310 X-Tier. This keeps their contractors within trusted brand ecosystems.
So a nervous contractor who has driven diesel CATs for 30 years feels safer trying an electric CD.
Exactly. And Sunbelt connects all of this through a partnership with Track Unit, using their IRISEC system to connect over 20,000 assets.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very premium, brand-loyal green transition.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because URI burned their ships, they don't have access to that C electric ecosystem.
Right, they maintain their independence. URI bypasses CAT's electric lines entirely. Instead, they became a launch partner for the Takeuchi TB20E and the JCB 19C1E.
And what about their vehicles?
For vehicles, they partnered massively with Ford Pro, bringing in the F-150 Lightning and the E-Transit vans.
But just substituting brands isn't enough to build a moat.
No, it isn't. And that is where the tech moat comes in. URI uses its proprietary Total Control telematics platform.
Wait, they built their own platform?
Yeah, instead of outsourcing like Sunbelt, URI developed Total Control to help customers track carbon reductions in real time.
Oh, that's huge for bidding on municipal projects.
Exactly. If a city demands verifiable proof of carbon reductions, a contractor renting from URI gets automatic compliance data generated by Total Control.
So the lack of the CAT brand forced URI to build superior software to differentiate themselves. The software lock-in is the moat.
Precisely.
Okay, we've painted a picture of two warring factions with totally different playbooks, but if you look up at an actual job site, you'll actually see a lot of the exact same logos.
Yeah, there is a lot of shared infrastructure. The fierce brand loyalty really only applies to yellow iron.
What about the other equipment?
For aerial work platforms, or AWPs, like scissor and boom lifts, both are massive global customers for the exact same brands. We're talking JLG, Genie, which is owned by Terex, and Skyjack.
I see. And what about specialty tools? Same thing. Both rely on Enerpac for high-force hydraulics and Wacker-Neuson for solar lighting and electric compaction.
So when it's not a heavy excavator, the brand loyalty just disappears.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Where brand loyalty doesn't dictate contractor behavior, both companies just simply seek the industry standard utility tools. A guy using a solar light tower doesn't care about the logo.
Right. So what does this all mean if we step back and look at the whole picture?
Well, the final verdict is a massive contrast in Moats. Sunbelt offers a young fleet, high resale profile. It works perfectly for conservative markets and brand loyalists.
And United Rentals.
URI is a $16.1 billion revenue giant. They represent a tech-first, network-driven disruptor. They win through sheer scale and digital integration.
So for you listening, look at your own business or investments. Are you relying on a premium partner's brand equity, like Sunbelt? Or are you burning the ships to build independent scale and proprietary tech, like URI? That's the perfect way to look at it. And this raises an important question. As equipment becomes increasingly electric and software defined, will the physical logo on the side of the machine even matter in 10 years? Or will the software platform running it become the only moat that counts?
Risk defined, portfolio protected.